everybody and welcome back to my channel. In today's video, we're going to be checking out the all-new Transformers Kingdom Battle Across Time Maximal Grimlock and Earth Mode Mirage Amazon 2-pack. Now this particular set I was rather on the fence about, especially considering that I wasn't a huge fan of the Sideswipe and Skywalk pack. It just seemed a little lackluster. However, I will say that this set is definitely a lot better, at least in my personal opinion. I think that Mirage is 90% spot on to what I would want from a mainline G1 interpretation from the character, and the Beast Wars Grimlock has actually turned out a lot better than I initially suspected. So we'll start off firstly with the most lackluster figure from this set, of course that being Grimlock. The main body as well as the weapons is just literally taken from Kingdom Dinobot, but it's probably the best basis for this particular character. Now when we actually got official images of this guy, I was a little confused as to what Hasbro were really going for, as the colour scheme is not really what we've all come to know and expect from Beast Wars Grimlock. He is missing the polka dots, which upon the first time seeing this I was a little confused as to why they did decide to go with this colour scheme, but it just works. It looks really well done in person. The head sculpt is fantastic. You can see there, awesome looking skull work. I love how sleek and elegant that looks, and the paint also works really well. But the main body of the figure has been cast out of a mixture of, I would say, brown, white and grey, but once again it works very nicely. We haven't got much paint going on here for the torso besides the dino head and of course a few red accents here on the sides, but you can see here the arms, the skin texture detail looks fantastic. The same can also be said here for the thighs. I think the gold as well as the white complements each other perfectly well, and you can even see as we spin here down to the lower section, they've actually painted this outer piece here white, which is just something they didn't have to do. Spinning around here to the back, you can see once again amazing skin texture detail. The actual Voyager Dinobot was a very good figure, so to get it here recolored with an awesome head sculpt, this guy certainly isn't bad at all. Now we do get the same weapons, so we get this spinning sword blade thing that Dinobot of course used in the show, and we also do get this sword, the same sword that we got with Dinobot, however this time cast out of white plastic, and I think these are pretty decent accessories. Of course they do actually form a part of the Dino mode, so we'll set those here off to the side for now. But just very quickly going through articulation, Grimlock does have a ball joint here at the head which can rotate left to right as well as look up and down and tilt side to side, but the rest of the body is exactly the same as Dinobot, so I shan't go into too much detail in regards to that. But definitely very solid looking figure, as mentioned, turned out so much better than I could have expected, and I really can't wait to actually show you guys what he looks like when transformed in Dino mode, as that was certainly where the surprise really took me. So let's get him transformed up. To begin with, you're going to want to rotate these shoulder sections here around, just lift these pieces up. We can then detach the raptor claws, extend those and hinge these here out to the sides, fold this out, collapse these panels in, and of course repeat the exact same process. Turn your attention here to the back, disengage this piece here, which will then allow you to completely detach this region, rotate here at the waist, flip the raptor head out just like so, and then we can come to these sections. You're going to want to compress the heel spurs into the hollow cavities here of the feet, and then just pull this section here out, straighten these legs like so, and this is where things can become a little convoluted. So for this particular step, you're going to want to compress these in just like so, bring this entire region here down, and then take this, and this tab is in fact going to peg into this slot, so just snap that in there. And then if we flip here to the underside, you can see two slots here and here that the tabs on these sections are in fact going to peg into, and we also have got some slots here on the knee pads that these tabs are going to peg into. So this the first few times can definitely be a little finicky, but once you've kind of got the gist of it, it shouldn't be too difficult at all. So just shoot that region in there, of course, come here to this side and repeat the exact same process. So just shoot all of that in, and then now it's just a matter of bringing this section here up, as these tabs are going to fill into those slots. So just snap that into place, of course come here to this side and repeat the exact same process. We can then come here to the side of Grimlock and just bring these sections down, of course extend the claws out, repeat the exact same process here on the opposite side, ensuring that everything for the most part stays tabbed in. We can then rotate the dino arms around just like so, and then of course we're going to want to bring in some of these accessories. So the sword does in fact fit into the tail piece, and that will then collapse, and then we can just take this and snap that there into the back, and here you've got Maximal Grimlock fully transformed up into his raptor, and actually looking, as mentioned beforehand, so much better than I was expecting. The paintwork, especially here for the head, looks awesome. I love the mixture of this black as well as the white that we've got going on. The green for the eyes as well as the pupils look fantastic, and if you actually open the jaw, it does reveal some tongue detailing, much like we got on the actual Dinobot figure. Of course, I maybe would have liked to have seen how that polka dot colour scheme would have looked on this particular character, but they've sort of replicated that here with black spots instead of white. Maybe there's some sort of reason as to why they decided to give this guy a different overhaul, but I actually think it works really nicely. You can see the grey looks fantastic, awesome skin texture detail. The actual Raptor mode isn't half bad either, of course not perfect, but for a Voyager, considering the budget, I think they've done a very, very good job. You can see there's some nice white paint here, and the tail too's also been painted really well. And unlike Dinobot, it does actually have a tip at the end which matches the colour of the tail instead of it being purple with the mixture of brown. So definitely very awesome looking Raptor mode here, and as mentioned, definitely turned out a lot better than I was expecting. Then we turn to what is no doubt the main selling point of this set, that being Earth mode Kingdom Mirage. Now sadly, I don't have my Siege version to actually compare this guy with in this review, but for the most part, from what I can tell, despite them being very similar upon first glance, there is actually a lot of new tooling actually applied to this guy, and the transformation I was surprised to see is also very, very different. Now, we've got to talk about the elephant in the room. Sadly, Hasbro and Takara Tomy did not engineer any way for the rocket to actually sit on the shoulder, much like the Siege version, and of course how it appeared on the cartoon series. The only way that you can sort of replicate this is if you peg it into the back of the shoulder, which I actually don't think looks half bad depending on how you do decide to pose this. So that definitely isn't a major drawback for me at all, and there will no doubt be a third-party company that come out with some sort of extension that will peg into this and of course wrap round into the shoulder. But the weapons are exactly the same as the Siege version, so we get the rocket launcher here, really awesome detail, as well as the blaster, which too has also been sculpted and detailed really, really well. However, of course, no paint applied. But other than the missing port for the shoulder, I think he looks fantastic, and I actually think this is better than the Siege version. The major issue that I had with the Siege release was that they used transparent plastic, which whilst looked good, of course over time is going to become brittle and is going to break, and it wasn't 100% accurate to how this guy appeared on the show. So I actually think this one here looks really, really cool. The head sculpt is the same, however has been painted really well, although the torso is a complete brand new sculpt. Also is the way the arms actually attach onto the sides. You can see here we've got some nice white paint as well as some nice decals. Here for the forearms, I think these two have turned out really well. These shoulder pauldrons are actually a lot better suited for this mold when in comparison to what we got with Siege. If you will recall, for that figure they were almost like flaps, and they did look rather ghastly depending on how you had Mirage posed. But with this particular incarnation, I actually think these look really, really nice. You can see here for the thighs, no idea why they weren't cast out of white plastic, but we have actually got white paint and of course solid plastic here for the shins, and the feet are also exactly the same as the Siege release. Spinning our attention here to the back, the figure cleans up pretty much exactly the same as the Siege version, so you won't really see much difference here, but I just think it's such a cool figure, and I think the overall colour scheme works really well. The paint has all been applied really well, the decals look nice, and as an actual deluxe class, it's pretty solid. Now I will run through the articulation for this guy, seeing as he does actually have some new tooled elements. So we do get a ball joint here at the head, the arms can hinge out to the sides as well as rotate the full 360. We get a rotation here at the bicep, 90 there at the elbow, full waist rotation, the legs can kick forwards that far as well as back to that far and out to the sides, rotation at the thigh, 90-degree here at the knee, and of course a fantastic ankle rocker pivot forwards and backwards as well as of course side to side. So in regards to robot mode, this guy certainly is really, really awesome. Now turning to transformation, we're going to want to collapse the wrists into these hollow cavities. We can then disengage this section from the main torso, and of course repeat the same process here for this side. We can then flip out the wheels, and then you're going to want to detach the torso from the waist joint, so just extend that and shift this entire region up. We can then take this piece, pull this forwards, and then rotate the head all the way in until it does actually clip into place, and then this slot will be filled via this tab, so just put that in there. We can then turn our attention here to the feet, so you're going to want to basically just extend all this, rotate this out, of course collapse the foot in, rotate the wheel around, come here to this side and repeat the same process. If you have the Siege version, you'll know exactly how the transformation works, despite it being a little different where the torso is concerned. The lower legs is pretty much identical, so just collapse that here over the top. Of course, come here to this side and repeat the exact same process, so just tab all of this in, snap these front halves together, and then here for this entire section you're going to want to bring that up and down, rotate the spoiler until this does actually peg into place, snap that into place, and there you've got Kingdom Earth Mode Mirage fully transformed up into his really awesome Formula 1-esque racing car. So if you were unable to tell some of the differences in robot mode between this Earth Mode version and the Siege release, I really think you'll see the differences here for the racing car mode, as this is drastically different. I actually think this looks awesome, and this really is the version that we should have got from the offset, to be honest with you. The Siege version was very, very close, and this guy just takes it that extra step, and it almost makes a lot of those Siege figures redundant in a way, as of course we've gotten pretty much Earth Mode appearances for near enough enough all of them besides Hound, I believe. But the detail looks awesome. You can see we've got the cockpit here. We've got what I believe is the engine bit. I'm not 100% certain, to be honest. But we've got the spoiler here. You can see really awesome, very elegant looking vehicle. Of course, it's very low to the ground, which can cause some clearance issues, but you can see all of the wheels do roll. We've got some nice details here at the front. Of course, for bot mode, we do utilize a faux chest. So this actual section here does not become the front of the vehicle, but that's certainly nothing to write home about. I think the detail looks awesome. You can see here from a side, we've got 26, and the actual sculpt work here on the back too isn't half bad either, and the weapons can store via these 5mm ports, and it's definitely a really cool looking deluxe. And so, some final thoughts here for Transformers Kingdom Battle Across Time, Earth Mode Mirage and Maximal Grimlock. As you could probably tell from this review, I'm actually for the most part really happy with how this set turned out. Grimlock is leaps and bounds better than I could have imagined, as when we actually got some images, I wasn't all that impressed, but the colour scheme, especially for the Raptor mode, I think works really nicely. Of course, a little bit of a departure from what we're used to with this Beast Wars Grimlock, but still really nice details, and the mold in general is just very solid, and that head sculpt that they've given this guy is wicked. The Earth Mode Mirage will no doubt be the hot selling point for this set, as he looks great, minus the missed opportunity of having a port for him to actually utilise the missile launcher on his shoulder. The figure is pretty much what we've all wanted from a G1 mainline representation of the character, and for those who thought the Siege version was slightly too stylised, then this guy I definitely think is worth looking into. Of course, I know not everybody's going to be 100% impressed that we have to purchase this deluxe Mirage with a Voyager Grimlock, which is lesser known amongst the community, but I do think you're getting two very solid figures, and if you were that against Grimlock, I guess you could always sell him on eBay or to a friend. So with all that being said, I can certainly recommend this set, definitely a lot more than I could the Sideswipe and Skywarp set. There was just something that was a little off about that in my opinion, but this one here I think is very good, and is more along the lines of what we got with the Autobot Alliance set with the Earth Mode Ironhide and of course Prowl. I would love to know down in the comment section below what you guys think of this particular set. Will you be adding this to your collection, or shall you be giving it a miss? I really hope that you enjoyed the video, and until my next review, I'll see you then. Thanks for watching.